I'm Lily, and I have one boy who is 2.5, 2 3/4. It feels like I had quite an easy time of it, but I suppose it's easy to think that when you're not in it. But the more I've thought about it over the last kind of couple of weeks, I mean, it was really hard work. And there's a lot of times where you think, I just can't do this. And I remember kind of lying awake at 4 a.m, Googling, will my boobs ever feel normal again? Or when my boobs start hurting? So yeah, I think it's easy to, once you've kind of cracked it, to forget how hard it was. I mean, I can remember thinking, if I get to 6 months and I can start weaning onto food, then it'll be okay and it will get easier. I think I probably, up until about kind of 4 or 5 months, thinking, I just can't wait for this to be over. But enjoying it at the same time. You have your good days and bad. Looking back as well, I'm not knowing much about it at the time, but I think I probably had oversupply and a very fast letdown, and things that I just wasn't really aware were a thing. And only when you learn more about breastfeeding did I realise that that was probably a problem and was probably quite easy to solve if I'd have known. When I was pregnant, I didn't read any books. I just thought it's just going to happen. I'd gone to some of the like NHS, I can't remember what they call, like preparing for baby classes, and they taught you about kind of different ways to hold the baby, but at no point really did they say it might feel like your nipples are going to fall off, or your boobs will become rock hard and it'll be impossible to sleep. I didn't plan to stop at 6 months, and I'm kind of quite passionate that 6 months isn't this kind of arbitrary cut-off point where it stops being good for them. I'm kind of really pro extended breastfeeding or natural term breastfeeding, but when it was the early days, the kind of date in my mind was that if I can get to the point where he's on solid, it's going to get easier, hopefully. He showed, up until he was probably about 15 months, he showed almost no interest in food, and he was all about the boobs. And I just thought, I'm just going to be keeping this boy alive with breast milk until he's 30. I just thought, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And then all of a sudden, he decided that he was really interested in food, and it was the pressure was off me a lot. And I thought, I can just carry on doing this. So we've got it down to kind of once in the morning. I mean, he asks for it all day long, but he's quite happy now for me to say no. Yeah, I mean, my husband was hugely supportive. And I can remember kind of, we had a little notepad and he'd write down the time of the last feed and how long it lasted and which boob and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, in the early days, he was hugely supportive, and my parents as well, I suppose. And there was never any kind of shame or embarrassment from anyone. I felt that I had really great support. And I was on a breastfeeding Facebook group, and I heard a lot of women saying that the support from their local NHS for us was terrible. But I think the support that I got from the midwives and people in Coventry was amazing. There was a lot of times where I felt ready to stop, and I was able to like get an appointment with them immediately. And they were just encouraging. They would, check your latch. And amazing, really good. I remember having some one-to-one appointments, some over the phone, and definitely at least one in person. Breastfeeding groups, I can't remember. I think it may have been something I looked into. Yeah, I'm lucky in a sense that I feel I'm quite confident in that sense that I'm just going to do it, and I don't care what anyone thinks. Nowhere that I felt that I couldn't breastfeed. There is one place I felt that I wouldn't breastfeed and didn't, which was a barber's. My husband was having his hair cut, and I was waiting with my little boy. He was quite small at the time, and that was the only place that I thought, this isn't my place to breastfeed. I would say know what to expect and do your reading. Yeah, unlike me, absolutely. Be fully prepared to go and buy some bras, or I had to send my mum out to go and buy. I was just like, go and buy me biggest bras you can find on about day 3 or 4, I think. Nipple cream, and persevere. Don't quit on a bad day was some of the best advice I got. And know that it will all of a sudden become really easy. One day you'll wake up and it's the easiest thing in the world.